Hi everyone, welcome. It's Tuesday and I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about egg donation and what it's like really on the inside of a fertility clinic when using and working with couples who are going to be using an egg donor. So we're really excited today to talk about this. We have a special guest who's going to be joining us, Dr. Rosencrantz from Reproductive Health and Wellness Center. And I think I see him right here. Let's bring him on.
Hello there.
Hi, Dr. Spark, can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you today?
Good. I can't see you, but I'm hoping that everything's working okay. As long as I can see you, it should be all right.
I can see you.
Perfect. Great. Well, thanks so much for joining. I think this is going to be a real treat for everyone, a little bit of a inside look at what it's like on the inside of a fertility clinic to be working with couples who are using egg donors. So before we jump into some of those questions, how about you just take a quick moment and introduce yourself, Dr. Rosencrantz?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Marcus Rosencrantz. I am the medical director at Reproductive Health and Wellness Center. We are located in Laguna Hills, Orange County. I did my training at UC San Diego and moved up here to Orange County in 2010, and then took a leap and opened my own practice here in 2019. And that
Wonderful.
brings me to today.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a good leap. I'm sure all of your patients were happy you took that leap.
We're pretty busy. We're doing good. I think we have a lot of happy patients, and we try our best with every single one that walks in the door. So
Wonderful. So, on that note and talking about your patients, at what point do you start to think about egg donation or even introduce the concept to the couples that you're working with if they haven't been successful with, some IVF cycles?
Yeah. Obviously, for male couples who come in, I mean, they're going to need an egg donor.
Right.
That's pretty straightforward, right? For patients who are older, typically older as in over 40, I always mention it to patients as an option. A lot of patients obviously want to try with their own eggs first, but I would be remiss not to mention it because of how good success rates are with donor egg compared to women who are over 40. Also, women who have tried IVF multiple times and there's just a deep egg quality issue, not having success that way, that they're nice to have a conversation with them about other ways of being able to have a family. Low egg counts, early menopause, or if a family maybe has a genetic condition that there's not really a good genetic screening test for, would be another reason I think that we would discuss egg donor together. Yeah,
those are all really important reasons why someone would or should consider egg donor. When you're having those initial conversations, do you find that most couples are somewhat open to it? It's something they're totally closed off to? I mean, how does that sort of work its way out when you're having those initial conversations?
Yeah. I think infertility is a journey, like we all say, and I think it's totally true for patients. And sometimes patients might not be interested in hearing about egg donor right now. Now that you've mentioned it, they know that it's there, not something that they're interested in. But things change, and sometimes your fertility doesn't go the way they want it to. And patients are open to something, a year or two later that they weren't open to before. So we have patients that are closed off to it, and that's fine. My job is just to make sure that at least they've heard about it. There are patients that are open to it right away, and there are patients that aren't going to be open to it for a little while. And the one good thing about donor egg is that we're not really in a hurry. We've got some time for patients to really figure out what's best for them. And so if they're not done trying on their own or trying with their eggs with IVF, donor's always that option that's going to be available for them.
Excellent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Everyone's got to come to terms with that if that's something that they're interested in on their own time and be ready for it. But at least you've introduced it and you're ready and able to answer their questions when they're ready for that. So that's awesome. Before I ask my next question, if any of our viewers have any questions, please go ahead and comment with those so that we can see if we can answer those for you with the time that we have together. As a couple does make that decision and is starting to really think about egg donation, what's been your experience with some of those couples or intended parents as they go through the egg donation process? Has it been mostly positive?
Yeah, I think for the patients who have success, and fortunately with donor, success rates are so good, that patients, I always tell patients, it's something that you're open to. It's a real blessing. Not really the reason why a lot of people come in, but if they're not able to with their own eggs and they're open to something like that, it's a real blessing for them. And I always tell patients that, at the end of the day, that's your baby, that's your pregnancy. You're going to carry that baby for, close to a year. You're going to deliver, you're going to breastfeed, and really parenthood isn't really, at the end of the day, about genetics. It's about being there for your child, and they're in love with their kids. And they're as happy as can be. So I feel like it's such an awesome way for us to be able to help patients grow or expand their families or start their families when they're not able to in the ways that they had in mind.
Yeah, 100%. We all, or I should say not everyone, but those who want to have families and have children really are doing it because they want to raise children and have a family. And so this is a beautiful way to be able to do that if the path takes them down this road. Most intended parents, most couples don't start their fertility journey thinking to themselves that, our path is to go down and use egg donation. But once they come to terms with it, they probably have a lot of questions. What are maybe one or two or three top suggestions or information that you think would be really valuable for them to know now before they start that process that you'd like to share?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of options out there in terms of how you get eggs, whether it's frozen eggs, fresh eggs. There's also tons of different donors. I think that the process is can be overwhelming for couples. Mm-hmm. And so I think one good piece of advice would be to just take your time. The right answer will come to you when it comes to you, and that it's not an emergency, and you have the time you need to be able to make the right decision for yourselves. And I also, along those same lines, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for them either. The right answer is whatever their best answer is. And so I think taking your time to figure out what works best for you, and the fact that there isn't a right or a wrong.
Fantastic. I know that Reproductive Health and Wellness Centers has worked with YourEggs with some of your couples that you're working with and supporting through their journey. What's been your experience and the experience of the intended parents as they've worked with YourEggs on the donor selection process and moving through the egg donation experience?
Yeah, I had a conversation with my nurse practitioner and my third-party team. They've been doing this for so long, 10, 15 years. And I said, I asked what's your experience with the YourEggs donors that have come through? And I got nothing but compliments, and they're not an easy group to get compliments from. So it made my job easier in terms of talking about it today. But they said that the donors themselves are truly well informed. They know what they're doing. They know what they're getting into. So they use the word amazing, responsible. So I think the quality of the donors that we have been able to work with through YourEggs has been towards the exemplary, towards the top of the donors that we could ask for. And of course,
We'll
that
take that as a
always makes intended parents happy, right?
yes. Well, and that's the main thing that we're looking for, is to make them happy and make this process for them, as difficult as it is, a little bit easier. So I'll take that as a win. That's wonderful that we've had a good reviews from your staff and from your office and from the couples that have worked with us. It's different when you're working with an agency, an egg donation agency that's not part of your fertility clinic. What can intended parents expect when they're working with your fertility clinic and using an egg donor that's not part of, that's not coming straight from your fertility clinic? Is that process a little bit different, and what expectations should they have?
Trying to think of how to best answer that. I really, I like the fact that we don't have an in-house egg donor or an in-house gestational carrier program. I think it keeps it cleaner for our patients, and there's no conflict of interest there in terms of taking care of our patients. So I like the fact that our donors come from outside. We're a small to medium-sized clinic at this point, but we have a significant boutique feel, I still think. And I think that our reviews online are evidence to that there's a lot of, it's a small group. Patients see me, they see the same people every time. So we're accessible. There's a lot of hand-holding along the way, where they feel like they're being really well taken care of because of the attention that's coming their way. So even though we've gotten busier, and even though we've grown from a staff from the single digits to the double digits, we haven't lost that aspect of the care that we, and customer service, really patient service that we provide. So I'm proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's super important. We think it's really important that those couples and that your patients really feel connected to you and connected to the experience and get the support that they need. So I love hearing that piece, and going through the experience of using an egg donor can be complex and difficult and challenging because no one thought they would be here. So any step of that process that is easier and smoother I think is really just in the best interest of couples and patients alike. So I appreciate that. Well, I love asking this question. It's the last question I have for you. But what is the best part of being a reproductive endocrinologist, a fertility doctor?
Oh my gosh, when we get to graduate people from our clinic and send them off with a positive pregnancy. I mean, that's our aim. That's what we work for here as a team, day in and day out. I'd say having them come back and visit is probably, it's probably slightly better than that, because we love seeing them on the back end too. But I think that's what keeps us going. I wish, personally, I wish that I spent more time on the positives. It's always the patients that don't get pregnant are the ones that I feel like get a lot of my emotion and attention, because those are the ones that are really struggling, and we struggle with also. And so you have to take the time to appreciate the wins, though, because that's what keeps us going.
100%. Well, I mean, I think that's normal across the board. But I love to hear that, because obviously the best part of any fertility practice is those successes and graduating those couples so that they can go have the families that they dreamed of. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Rosencrantz. I really appreciate you being here and sharing your knowledge and information. If anyone is looking for more information on Dr. Rosencrantz and the Reproductive Health and Wellness Center, just click on their profile link right here. That will take you straight to their profile, and you can have that and be connected straight to their clinic that way. Again, I want to thank you for being here and answering all my questions, but really thanking all the viewers who are watching and being here with us today. So thank you so much for your day, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Mark. It was really nice meeting you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.